Hello, guys. It is time for WCS Valencia replay cast. We're going to go semi-analytical, semi-just awestruck enjoyment as we observe this man's strategies. Right now, this is a group stage 3 game. Haas qualified straight through to this stage from the Taiwanese qualifier. This is, of course, from WCS Valencia, held at DreamHack Valencia just last weekend. Here in the bottom left-hand side, in the blue, the Protoss player, his name is Haas. An absolute fucking legend. You guys might know him from my Cheese Down series, where him and No Regret compete in Zerg vs Protoss matches to see who's the biggest cheeser in the world. He's actually come out the worst for wear in some of them, but No Regret did beat him. Did lose to him in the last one, so they've got both got a bit of an axe to grind in that one. Up here in the top right, the number 1 Polish player, his name is Elazer. Nurcio fans everywhere let out a scream of outrage. They say, Nurcio! Sorry, guys. Elazer won a championship more recently than Nurcio, has been just a little bit more consistent than him, all things considered. Nurcio's a great player, but I feel like this year he's not quite as much of a beast as he was in previous years. So far, Haas's probe here, I feel like he was almost trying to bait Elazer to pull drones to attack him there, doing a bit of a dance. And he's going gate and forge. Oh, fuck me! And it's lost and found, and Elazer hasn't even pulled a drone. Oh, Elazer! It's lost and found. You've got to pull drones ahead of time. You've got to block this spot. Come on, who do you think you're playing against, Elazer? Oh, no. Let's see. Maybe he has a good way of dealing with this. Maybe he has a good plan. But this is so easy to do because you can wall off this side with just one pylon. It looks like units can squeeze through there, but they cannot. And he's built 2 cannons. Haas has said, look, if you haven't pulled drones yet, there's no way you're going to stop this. Cancels the pylons, gets the money back, and even puts a high ground pylon down. Can that cannon reach the gas, I wonder? It might be able to. That's going to allow these cannons to maintain position. The hatchery finishes. Elazer not cancelling it. He snuck one drone across. I think he's going to proxy hatch in response. Roach Warrant immediately goes down, but no second gas. And a 3rd cannon even goes down. Wow. Of course, Haas committing hard because that hatchery was allowed to finish. Looks like it's going to be... Okay, no gas. Drone tries to get through the wall, but it's a solid wall from Haas here. Haas games are always a special snowflakey experience, but he's going to now take the 2nd gas. Okay, all right, so he's getting a queen, the 2nd gas, continuing to drone up. He's going to proxy hatch on the other side. The queen's going to come out and slowly break. Oh, you got to watch out, dude. You got to move north of the gas to get rid of that pylon. Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Oh, whoa, he's moving too good. No, Elazer! He moved his queen too far forward! Oh my god, a terrible mistake. Elazer loses his queen. She could have been hitting that pylon from way further back. Elazer, under pressure here, up against Haas, makes a crucial mistake, loses his only queen, and oh my god, look at the follow-up. That's especially bad, because Haas has gone for a super fast Stargate. Now, does Elazer see this? He spotted it earlier as well with his Overlord, but I don't know if he's clicked on it now. There's a Nexus going up. Elazer sent some drones across. Oh, man. I mean, he's getting some roaches up. They're already taking damage. Elazer! Really underestimating how far those cannons can reach onto this high ground. You know, there's a bit of a perspective issue because they're at different heights. It seems like the cannons are further away than they are. But realistically, from this point here to this point here is actually no distance. Like, there is no difference between here and here because that whole graphic is literally just a vertical, if that makes sense. So that's, I think, why Elazer was misjudging that. Ooh, the Adept Shade comes up. Notice how that gives high ground vision, so the Ravagers have to pull back. Haas is going to accidentally he lets it finish, though, but he's got an Oracle that came in, killed the 2 drones. He's going to start to kill that Roach. These cannons taking some damage, but these Ravagers getting dangerously low. And this Adept Shade move from Haas is so sick to spot that high ground. This cannon will eventually go down, but I don't think it matters. Haas is on 2 bases now. He's got a cannon, he's got an Oracle, a Void Ray is going to start killing Overlords. And Elazer's already down 5 workers and pinned back on 1 base. This hatchery over here is worthless. Like, he's going to try to build queens and spores there, but I think this is a wasted investment. There's no way you're going to overpower Haas. He's going to have a Void Ray there before your first queen pops. He's got his own shield batteries. He can probe up. You're definitely not going to bust through him with a Robo already almost finished. So Haas here just, yeah, playing Lost and Found the way the map's meant to be played with a beautiful, beautiful cannon rush. And Elazer not blocking the key spot, lets it go up and now finds himself in a very, very hard position. Extra spores going down. This is a huge investment. Elazer's, I believe he's planning to slow push this with queens, spores, and ravages and just try to break Haas. But an immortal already starts. Haas has got this so well planned out. He's always one step ahead. As soon as he realized Elazer wasn't going to commit to breaking him quickly, ooh, ouch, that hurt. But as soon as he saw Elazer wasn't going to commit to breaking him quickly, he immediately was like, nope, go for the Stargate. The Stargate messed up Elazer. Elazer's like, that's fine. Okay, we'll get spores, we'll get queens, and then that'll allow our ravages to break through. But he's already got the immortal. The first immortal's popping out. These void rays doing damage. He takes down that roach. Oh my god, poor little guy. Blood just popping out of him. And there's a couple of queens here, but the void rays can fight that, especially with the help of some shield batteries back there. The first immortal's out. The second one's on the way. Haas is a genius. And he's even going to send a stalker. I think its job is to try to find overlords. Maybe scout at the same time just to see how committed this is. But look, yeah, you're going to come forward, but there's an immortal behind this wall. The shield battery healing very well. Another unit goes down. Haas is even going to counterattack with the Void Rays and the Oracle. Anyone else would stay at home, but I guess it makes sense. He says, look, all your anti-airs here. I bet you don't have enough anti-air at home. I think I can barely hang on with the Immortals, the shield battery. And you know what? Immortals are just so powerful, man. They are so good versus Roach Ravager Queen, doing so much damage here. Another Ravager pops. And now, on the other side of the map, the counterattack is about to be launched. Elazer, he's starting to break through slowly, but a third Immortal entering the field is going to be huge. And there we go. 2 Void Rays versus Spore Crawler. Uh-oh. I think Elazer tried to put another Spore down, but it didn't start. The drone got blocked. Oh, no. Even with 2 Spores, he would have been overwhelmed, but it would have at least killed one of the Void Rays. That is so unfortunate for Elazer. He's going to start trying to break through here. He is starting to kill some units. Good transfuses going down on these Ravagers, keeping them alive, but these Immortals just won't die. One of them already at 5 kills. Almost all the transfuse energy is gone. Ravagers starting to fall. The Void Rays have forced the evacuation. Elazer's mining is non-existent right now. You can see it in the income tab. Down to 11 workers versus 34 probes, and the Immortals are just dishing out the hurt. A third Immortal joins the fray, and that's it. Oh, Haas might lose 1 Immortal, but nope. 1 Immortal finally goes down, but not until every single Zerg unit falls. Recalls the Void Rays as well, says, you know what, your queens are too deep. Here's the Void Rays, buddy. Recalls the Void Rays into the fight, and is just going to take down the last units. That's GG. Haas wouldn't have it any other way. Takes out Elazer with a sexy little cannon rush there. Just slides those in. Very, very nice. 5:28 p.m. How does he do it? Rapid fire. Not just rapid fire, sorry, but the keyboard repeat rate is how you do that. So rapid fire with the corrosive biles, no doubt, but it's also the keyboard repeat rate. If you use customized software, you can increase the polling rate and you can reduce the repeat delay, which is how you get that to work out. That way you can reach insane APMs. So that was just like that was just a good cannon rush. Just a good cannon rush. Wasn't impressed with Elazer's response to it either. Feel like he was too straightforward, and you could just tell that Haas had it planned out like super well. Really well timed Stargate, really well timed Robo, and actually a quick expansion as well, so it wasn't all in. It was pretty great. What do I think about Haas doing so well in the tournament? It says Dangerfield getting to the finals. I think it was kind of hilarious. I think it's kind of sad for Elazer, kind of sad for Showtime and these guys. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but I think, you know, most of them took it in good stead. I think that like Showtime laughing when he lost and stuff. You know, I think Haas he played well. Players weren't ready for it. I think it shows that there's always a place for a player who plays outside of the meta and does his own strange, weird strategies, right? There's always a place for that. Jaeger says, Pig, will you show us how to read build orders? I'm confused about the numbers at the right-hand side. The left-hand side, I mean. Someone help out Jaeger, please. Do me a favor. Because this is one of these things where it's actually like, I'm so experienced at StarCraft, I actually find it difficult to explain certain concepts because it's something that's so second nature to me, especially when I'm this deep in a stream. I'm just like, it's very easy for me to totally misunderstand. If you guys can help him out, please do. I think Gemini on All Things Protoss has a guide on how to read build orders. Does anyone know? Could anyone let us know? Normally the left-hand numbers are supply, is what I'll leave it at for now, but I think some of the guys are hopping in chat to help you out. The supply count. So if you're like, oh, 16 gate, it's when you're at 16 supply, that's when the gateway goes down. But yeah, I think Haas is cool. He's funny. He adds flavor, variety, and he reminds us that StarCraft is such a deep, complex game that it's hard to be ready for everything. Muffin Man, earlier you were asking about Ultimate Terran Greed. No regard to early defense. Is 1Rex Gasless Expand or CC First better? Gasless gives you first quick orbital. I think CC First is more economic, but it will slow down your tech obviously a little bit. So yeah, you definitely get more economy out faster though, just from having the double mules dropping nice and early with the CC First, I believe. But I very rarely CC First, Muffin Man. That's like Nexus First and CC First are two lines of opening, which I have very little experience playing out. Very little experience. Yeah. All right, guys. All right, guys. Here we go. It is game number 2 of this best of 3 series. Sorry for the downtime between the games. I've got to log out and log in because a patch just came out and it broke the old replays. But this guy down here, an absolute fucking madman, and he's up to it again. Jesus Christ. His name is Haas. He's just sent a probe out. That's a proxy gate. That's such an early probe. It's got to be a proxy gate, right? Or maybe it's just to block the hatch. It could be to block the hatch because a lot of people will go 16 hatch on this map. And the idea with 16, and that's what Elazer's planning to do. You notice he's not starting the 17th drone because this way you get down there before a pylon scout gets there in time to block. So Elazer comes down and he goes, what the frack? Immediately starts 2 drones up and goes to take his third base. Haas already getting underneath his opponent's skin. Pretends to go for the main, hoping that he would lure the drone back. But then he turns back to make sure if Elazer tried to come back and build the hatch, it was blocked. Comes into the main and he's going to confirm, yep, you just went and took your third. You've gone gas after that. You're going to drop a pool in a few seconds. And I've already disrupted your build and messed it up. You know, I'd love to see a proxy Stargate. I think if you do something like this, proxy Stargate, open up with 2 adepts, harass the third base, jump into the main, harass there, and then you proxy a Stargate up here, come in with an Oracle on that mineral line. It's so brutal, man. Let's see what Haas has in mind. Just an expand for now. He could be doing his macro play. So the build which Haas used more and more throughout WCS Valencia, there were various openings into it, but essentially he would always go for a charge lot drop. So he would get a warp prism to your third base at just before 5 minutes, about 4 minutes 50. He'd unload 4 zealots. And if you didn't have enough units, he'd also siege up or go into warp in mode, and he would warp in another 4 zealots. So this is something he used throughout the tournament. Now, I didn't see this series. I didn't see the series versus Elazer because this tournament was on literally between... this series or the one versus Special. This series was on at like 4 a.m. my time. So I haven't caught up on all the series yet, and what more fun way to do it than by actually casting the games myself. But yeah, the way Haas would do, he'd do this charge lot drop, and then he'd start building immortals, and he'd never build the gases on his natural, and he'd take a third, but he wouldn't get the gases there. So it would be 3 mineral lines, just the 2 gases in the main, and he'd just have a bunch of immortals and sentries off those 2 gases, and then he'd go for just a ton of charge lots. And he'd like hit the third base while warping zealots in the main, and he did this over and over again in the finals. I think he did it in like the round of 8 as well. I can't remember who he played there. Yeah, I think we played Nurchio there. I think he did it against him as well. Lots of just crazy games where he did this strategy. And it reminded me a lot of Stardust when he won DreamHack Summer 2013 against Jadong in the finals, where he did this weird double upgrade, kind of 3 base, or was it 2 base? I can't remember. It was Heart of the Swarm, and it was like this immortal charge lot timing, but it was like really late timing, but the upgrades were so good, and that made it really strong. And yeah, he's gone fast robo. He's building a sentry. Sending a probe out, so I think he just wants to make sure there's no all-in coming his way. I think that's what this probe is for. Hasn't started charge just yet. I think this is because he's worried about being all-in, which is why he's building the sentry. Yeah, I think Haas is worried about an all-in. But he sees the third, he sees drones, and we're going to immediately see charge start up. Yeah. Hey! I love it when I read a pro gamer's play correctly, because it makes me feel like I'm good. But when you actually read Haas's mindset correctly and why he's doing things, it is like a special rare moment. It doesn't matter how much of an expert you are at StarCraft. If you can understand what's going on in this madman's brain, then you have ascended to a new level. And that's right. I just basically said that I ascended to a new level. I don't mind giving myself compliments. What can I say, guys? You won't find even a modicum of decency here, or of what's the word where you're not arrogant? Man, my vocabulary has been trash lately. It's on the tip of my tongue. Twitch chat will get me. You guys got my back. Little pervert observer's going to go across the map. Humility, that's the word. Modesty, that works too. I was going to say humility. That's it. Thank you. And there we go, guys. Forge, he's going to get +1. And he's going to move out with that observer. So 2 gateways are here. Oh, he's forgotten to transform his 4th gate. He's meant to warp in 4 zealots and load up the prism. But it's 5 gateways, actually. Yeah, but he's forgotten to transform a few of them. So, okay. It's just going to be a 3 zealot drop this time. Fair enough. And Elazer here, skipping Ling speed. I actually really like this move from Elazer. You notice how he just went a really fast lair with his gas instead? That allows him to get overseers if there's DTs, and he can start up roach speed in a little while. But because he's so unsure what he's up against, he's a bit afraid right now. So he's actually only on 41 drones and he's massing roaches. Better safe than sorry, I guess. He's going to see a probe heading towards the 3rd base now. Hasn't spotted the 3rd just yet. The zealot drop rotates. And it's going to find nothing. Great defense by Elazer, but he's built a ton of units. And that, like, Hass is happy. Hass is like, yeah, that's fine, dude. You've got so many roaches right now. His observer's even checking. And he's like, that's fine. I'm building immortals. I've got a sentry. I'm going to be making more. Yeah, Elazer sees the 3rd base. Now, this is one problem, is those gases haven't been taken yet by Hass. And that's a huge tell. So, Elazer really should be... He's building 8 more drones, but seeing no gases there... He should not be going past, like, 55 drones at the absolute most. Any more than 55 versus a guy who doesn't have his natural gases is absolute suicide. So let's see how well Elazer judges that. He's up to 52. He's adding 2 more workers. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 gas geysers. I wouldn't mind a 5th geyser, so we can make a few ravages to potentially snipe the prism. But more important is just the roach numbers. And you know what? He's stopping drones at the perfect count. Elazer has read this play perfectly so far, as long as he just keeps building roaches and maybe puts a few more Overlord spotters out as well, because right now he's going to have a bit of trouble tracking this warp prism, especially if these Zerglings go down. He could get surprised by a drop from a surprising angle. How many sentries have we got? Only 4 sentries this game, 2 of which are in the back of the natural. There we go. He has remembered them. Hass is going to send out that hallucination. Remember, his observer got sniped by the Overseer. And... no, it's here. And that hallucination apparently was just sitting there for a minute before he sent it out. Okay. Hass is doing some strange things. Anyway, I mean, Elazer's just massing Roach Ravager. He should be... I mean, Immortals and Sentries are good, but as long as the force fields don't catch him too well, and as long as he doesn't get surprised by this drop, I was talking about how he doesn't have Overlord spawning the edge of his main, he should be fine. Yeah, great interception by Elazer. Ooh, does take out a few zealots, forces out a Guardian Shield. He shouldn't fight off creep, though. He can't... oh, he can't... oh, Elazer, you're going to get force fielded. Watch out, watch out, watch out. And he's been lured off creep a little bit. There we go. Hass is going to drop in the main, and oh my god, that's a big zealot warp in. Oh, the queens weren't targeting. If both queens started targeting that prism, Elazer would have been able to shut this down. Okay, he's pulling all of his roaches back to the main base and already losing drones, though. Uh-oh, he hasn't pulled the drones away. The zealots are going to town at the same time. Hass swings back in on the 3rd base. Oh my god, gets all the valuable ravages in the front. They all go down. No, Elazer loses all of his anti-force field power. Oh my god, Hass out-positioning him. And this is that build, which Hass just showed was so powerful. Elazer jumps forward. He gets rid of the Warp Prism, gets an Immortal, snipes down, and almost gets the 2nd Immortal as well. Holds on, but he lost 21 drones in that main. He needed to evacuate those drones. He's trying to re-drone now while pushing across the map, but you gotta remember, guys, Hass has a 3rd. He's building cannons and batteries. He knows if he just defends, he's gonna be completely fine. He's putting a spotting zealot forward to try and see if the army is incoming. Still no gases for Hass. Only 51 probes, but that's a ton of mineral income. He's way ahead. He can make so many zealots and sentries. And right now, there's only 1 Ravager there. You've got to be so careful as Elazer. You can't fight this. You've got to get out of there. He's trying to drone up behind this, but he wants to try to trade out with these roaches while they're still effective. But what he's got to remember is with such a commitment to zealots and sentries, this is an early game army from Hass. You don't want to give him a fight right now. I think Elazer, I mean, he's getting some decent trades, but then the force fields trapped too many of the roaches. Right when he would have wanted to disengage, he got locked into a combat there. And look at the upgrades as well. +2 is about to finish. Hass is kind of sneaking ahead with just these tiny little macro steps, taking him later in the game. A zealot count is going to go across the map. The immortal count continuing to regrow. If Hass hadn't lost those 2 immortals earlier, I'd say it's already game over. Elazer would be dead. But as it is, Elazer's just rebuilt his drone count. He's got to stop at this worker count and just make mass ravage of Roach, I think. He should probably try to squeeze a Baneling Nest in as well, just because the Zealot count is so monstrous and Roaches are a very low damage unit. Zealots have been dropped off on the right-hand side of the map. They're going to find the 4th base. It'll be a cancel, not the biggest loss. Elazer going to send 3 Roaches to counter. A great move. He's trying to do it with pure Roach. The thing is, guys, Zealots are amazing versus Roaches. The only time they become bad is if the Roaches can start a step, can kite them down. But if you flank, if you surround, if you use the Prism to get them in a mineral line, somewhere where the Zealots can be effective, and that distracts a Laser, you can trap him. You can jump on top, and oh my god, the Zealots, and he's going to land the trap. All the Ravagers get caught out. Oh my god, he breaks out of the cage, but he's already lost half of his Ravagers. The Zealots and the Roaches in the main were just kind of staring at each other, and they are going to start to fight. These units are just getting ripped out of there. Great micro by Haas. He's in the worker line. The main base has been overwhelmed, I believe. Oh, he's thinking about just doing another warp in there. He's going to do it. Yeah, he's absolutely going to do it. His Immortal Sentries and Zealots have ravaged the 3rd. And, I mean, even though these Zealots are going down, the other ones are going to clear the main base. And that's it. I mean, Elazer's back on 1-base mining once all these drones are gone, and that's only a matter of time. These Immortals still are too strong to get overwhelmed. There's still a couple force fields in here. No, actually none right now. A few of them just short of 50 energy. And there we go, though. Yeah, losing the sentries doesn't matter when you've already massacred your opponent's economy. Zealots doing pretty decently versus the Roaches. Elazer gets taken down. Some fantastic responses there from Elazer, but it all came back. Let me actually show you guys where that game went wrong and how small it was. And like I said, Banelings are very, very good against this build, right? Because you know he's committing to Zealots, right? So it's like 7 minutes, I think. So yeah, 7 minutes. This is it. About 7 minutes is where everything went wrong, okay? So number one, I talked about how they weren't Overlords a bit further out. So there wasn't as much warning of this Warp Prism rotation as there should have been. Now, Elazer was so respectful of this frontal push. He was so focused over here. And he really just needed to get his queens on this Warp Prism. And that's the threat here is if there is another Warp Prism over here, this Prism might just be like a fake, right? Hell, it could even be a hallucination, potentially. So you don't want to leave too many units, which is why he's only got 4 Roaches and a Ravager. But we see here, 4 Zealots dropped on top of that, almost beats that. You add a Warp in, suddenly the units are on this side of the map. This is not enough, guys. Like, you've got to shut down the Warp Prism or have left more Roaches over there. I think if you want to play it really safe, you're assuming you're not going to be able to kill the Prism because that's pretty unreliable. You want to just have another 5 or 6 Roaches here. It's a big supply commitment. But because he's got the micro advantage on this side, with the ability to just micro backwards, use corrosive bile, he just never really needs to give Haas an opportunity to actually land the force fields. He's got so much space to kind of fight. Do a volley, run back. Do a volley, run back. Look at how he does it. Do a volley. And here he was actually willing to fight because he saw there weren't many Zealots. But do a volley, run back. He doesn't need this many Roaches. He just needs all the Ravagers here to deal with the sentries. And unfortunately, this Zealot warp-in is just super powerful. What was the other key mistake? Even in this situation, I think Elazer could have won the game. But pulling his entire army away and allowing Haas to move forward allows Haas, rather than wasting force fields in the open, he starts to get using force fields right next to the economy of Elazer. Anytime you force Elazer to back up from his economy, you expose his drones to harm. The other big one is these drones should have instantly been ran to that base. Part of the reason this is scary is this is 50% of his gas income. Does not want to lose that income, but he's got to run these drones away and then very quickly, when he cleans up these Zealots, put them back on mining. Because this is where the majority of his 20 worker losses were. Ignore everything else that's happening. And look at this. If Elazer had kept even 10 more workers alive, he has a chance of going okay here. But losing all these drones, even though his Roaches do eventually clean it up, that's well worth it for the Zealots. And then suddenly, remember, the force field started landing on the Ravagers because he was distracted. So he pulled his whole army back. Haas was able to gain position. The creep suddenly doesn't do that much for Elazer, and Elazer gets trapped up against his hatchery, loses his valuable Ravagers. Fuck, everything's gone wrong. And from there, that's where Haas established the advantage. So GG, well played, Haas. A very powerful build, something players won't have a lot of experience against. 3 mineral lines, 2 gases. You've still got the anti-roach and the immortals. The sentries are a very dangerous unit, but then you've just got so many zealots you can make with that mineral income. GG, well played.